For several decades, the Model View Controller (MVC) design pattern has been extensively used across various technologies. This design pattern has been used in everything including Smalltalk to C++, Java, and C#. .NET Web applications benefit greatly from this powerful and straightforward method of decoupling issues within application. And on that note, hey everyone, I'm Babu Khandelwal and I welcome you all to Simplilearn's YouTube channel. Today, we will implement CRUD operations on ASP.NET MVC. But first, let me remind you that we have daily updates on numerous technologies. So if you are a tech geek looking for the latest technological innovation, then try subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on Simplilearn. Now, without any further ado, let's get started with the agenda for today's session. We will begin our session with a discussion on what is ASP.NET MVC. Then we will have a brief discussion on the need for ASP.NET MVC. Following that, we will implement the CRUD operations on ASP.NET MVC. Finally, we will wind up this session with a few takeaways. So without any further ado, let's get started with the discussion on what is ASP.NET MVC. Microsoft's ASP.NET MVC is essentially a web design framework, and ASP.NET MVC integrates MVC design elements, the most recent agile development principles and methodologies, and the greatest component of the existing ASP.NET platform. Because it is built on top of ASP.NET, then developers may use practically all of the ASP.NET capabilities while developing the MVC application. ASP.NET MVC is not something that was created from the ground up. It is a full replacement for the regular ASP.NET web forms. Next, let's discuss the need for ASP.NET MVC. So, when developing a web application using ASP.NET MVC, there will be no illusions of state, no page reload, and no page lifecycle. Another design aim for ASP.NET MVC was to be extendable throughout the whole framework. So when we discuss views, they must be displayed by the specific sort of view engine. The whole point of employing Model View Controller design pattern is to keep things separate. An MVC component instantiate controllers. So if you don't like how MVC instantiate your controller, you can do it yourself. Next, let's try to implement CRUD operations on ASP.NET MVC. Let me open my Visual Studio. Let's create a new project. We will make an ASP.NET web application with the .NET framework. So we will click next. Then we will name this MVC CRUD. Make sure you choose .NET Framework 4.7.2. Then we will hit create. Next, we are asked which type of template we want to use. So we will use MVC. Next, we will hit create. We will wait for it to create. And here we have our first project. Now let's try and connect to a database. We will connect to our same local DB MS SQL local DB server. We will name this MVC CRUD DB. We'll click OK. It will take some time to create it. and now it is asking us to create it. So let's create it. Yes. We'll go here, we'll check tables, and there is none. So we will right click and add a new table. We are waiting for its design to load up. First, we will name this one as student ID. Student ID. Then next we will have student name. We will give this one navvar car 50. Then we will have student fees. This will be int. Then we will have student city. And again we will name it navvar 50. We will also name this table. So we will copy this and name it student. Now we will update this to prepare for database. And now this will create this table. So we will update database. And as you can see here, the table is created. We can refresh here, and as you can see, here is the table. Show table data, and there is none yet. Let's close this. Now what we want to do is apply CRUD operations to this table. So it will when we enter it in the forms, it will automatically register it to this table. Now we'll go ahead and right click here, and we will click on manage and NuGet package. Here we will install entity framework. We will click on browse. Here it will be searching. Here the first one. We will click on this, and we will install the 5.0.0 version. We will click on install. Click OK, then I accept. And it's installed now. So now we will right click here, and we will add a new item. We will go to data, and we will install ADU.NET Entity Data Model. We will click on add. We will select EF Designer from database. We will click next. It is already selected. Let's make it as DB context. Next, we will choose 5.0. We will go ahead here and select the student table, and we will hit finish. It will take some time to create files here. As you can see, it has created an entity data model. As if you look here closely, it has created several files. Let's see this one. and this is the file it has automatically created. It's student.cs, which has the complete structure for the class of all of this taken from directly from the table. Next, let's also check our controller. This is our home controller. This is a default controller, so as you might see, there are several functions already here. Let's delete the old functions. We'll keep index, so because we'll be making one of them anyway, we'll delete these. We don't need them. And for the index, let's write them. So we will have var list of data equals to underscore context dot student dot to list then we will return list of data. Now to solve this, we will need to add a context file here. CMVC CRUD db context underscore context equals to new MVC CRUD db context, and that's it. We'll save this. Next,
if getting your learning started is half the battle, what if you could do that for free? Visit SkillUp by Simplilearn. Click on the link in the description to know more.
Let's create an HTTP GET function. This will be public action result create. For this, we will only return view. Now we will also create, let me make some space here. Now we will also create an HTTP post method, and this method will be again public action result, and this will also have the same name create, but student model. We will have context dot student dot add model. Then we will have underscore context dot save changes and a view bash dot message is equals to data insert successfully. Then we will return it. Return view. Let's save it. Let's add all of the functions as well, then we will look at them together. And here, now we have already created the create function. Now I added some more functions. So first we have edit function. This is in HTTP GET mode, and then we have HTTP POST. Here I basically what I'm doing for the GET part, I'm just asking for the student ID to recognize for which student I will be updating the data. Then in the HTTP POST method, I'm basically copying what I'm gonna put in the text box of student city, student name, student fees. Next, we have detail function. This will basically give us the information for that ID. Then we have delete function. This will be able to delete this ID record. Now let's add the view for each of these functions. So we will click on action result for index. We will right click on it and click on add view. We will select MVC5 view. We will click add. Then we have this option. For the temp index mode, we will put list because we are trying to create list for the index. For the model class, we will have student db context this, and we will click on add. It's asked us this file is already existing. Let me show you why. Let me cancel this. We will do it again. If you go into the view folder, you will see these view files. These are the ones which were already created earlier. So what we will do now, when I will create to replace it, it will just simply replace this index.cshtml. So again, we will click on add view. We will select this. We will click on add. We will select list. For the model class, we will use student, and for the context class this, and we will click on add, and yes, we want to replace it, and it will be creating the new view for us. Let's try rebuilding it first. I guess there are some errors. We will rebuild this solution. And it succeeded. Let's enable it. This. Let's try it again. Let's add view, MVC5, add, list, student, MVC CRUD, then click on add, then yes. And this is the view for the index folder. Now let's go back to the home function and let's create view for the create. We will right click on this create, click on add, MVC5, add. Now we will select create mode. For the model class, we will use student. Then we have DB context for this one. Let's add. And this is for the create function. Now let's go and make one for edit, detail and delete. So I'll go add this, add. For edit, we will use edit, model, student, and we will add. Next, we will go for detail. We will add view, select, add. For detail, we will have details, student, this, and add. At last, we have delete. So we will add view for this. We will click on this, add. Then we will add delete here. Then we have student. Then we will click on add. Now we have successfully created a separate view for each of these. Now let's try and run it. It will open it in the Chrome. Let's wait for it to load up. And here is our table. As you can see, we have a create new function button now. Let's click on this and it asks us for details. Let's give it student ID 1, student name as, let's say my name Vaibhav, student fees as around 20,000, and for the city as New York. Let's hit click and it has created. Let's go back to our list, and as you can see, it is already here. Let's create few more. So let's mark it as Mark, ID 2, Mark, student fee as 30 grand, 39 grand, student city as Las Vegas, and hit create again. Let's go back to list, and here we are. Let's try hitting on edit. Now let's try to change this to 40 grand and this to New Orleans. Let's add it, and it has changed. We can also delete this. Now let's get back to our slides. Finally, let's look at the final takeaways to conclude this session. First up, we have ASP.NET MVC that makes it easier to add interactivity and responsiveness to existing project. Next, we have ASP.NET MVC, which gives you complete control over produced HTML and a clear separation of responsibility. Following that, we have direct HTML control also implies improved accessibility for established conformance and developing web standards. After that, we have ASP.NET MVC is ideal for web applications that require assistance of large teams of developers as well as web designers that require high level of control over the application's behavior. Then, ASP.NET MVC simplifies complexity management by splitting an application into the model, the view, and the controller. At last, ASP.NET MVC improves test-driven development support, that is TDD. And this was all for today's session. Hope you guys found it informative and helpful. If you liked this session, then like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, then you can drop them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more from Simplilearn.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.